welcome to Basement Dad's Pinball Podcast, where we talk everything entertainment that's comic books, boring board games, mediocre music, and of course, trash pinball. I'm Extra Paul, and I've got George and Hadi here too. We'll be your hosts for this episode, so hold on to your banisters, kids, because we got a heck of a show for you. This is our third installment of Bad Rap, where we discuss a specific modern pinball game that didn't live up to the hype, really. Tonight we'll be talking about VENOM. The game's got fast locks, a save system so that you can pick up where you left off from game to game. How come this one fell flat, aside from the theme, of course? And maybe Hadi will pick up on this, because Hadi's a huge fan of VENOM. But just real quick to recap, this is Brian Eddy's sixth release after Mando and Stranger Things, and way after his beloved games from the 90s. But VENOM, a theme that only one person asked for, and we have that one person here with us tonight. Hadi, how you doing?
I am great. Yeah, there is no shortage of VENOM fandom in me, and when they announced it, I decided I should go buy a lottery ticket, because there's no way in hell did I ever think the one IP that I really enjoyed would be made into a pinball machine. You know, Dungeon Crawler Carl is beloved by hundreds and thousands of people now, but VENOM is VENOM's like the symbiote people like to play in Marvel vs. Capcom. But as a pinball machine, I really do think I was one of the only people that was ever clamoring for it.
I mean, I was excited for it. I wasn't like asking for it though. You were like avidly asking for it, like
and when I heard the rumor, I still couldn't believe that they would spend money on this IP, because I'm thinking of the world around it. You've got Spider-Man, you've got with Avengers Infinity Quest, you kind of included the cavalcade of leeching off the goodwill of the Infinity War saga. Obviously they had to go the comic route. So when VENOM was announced, I'm like, oh, well, maybe they'll do like, he'll be a boss and it'll be like maybe based on Spider-Man. But when it was announced that it was shown, it was all VENOM. I'm like, well, kudos to me.
Yeah, for sure. And the artwork on it is great too. Aside from that, though, that's where I'm gonna be maybe done being so nice. We're about to say some wild shit here, guys.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. Before we go too much further, really quick, Hadi, you come to us from FriscoPinball. You also have an amazing podcast, Wizards and Warriors. Is that the name? Do I have that correct?
Yes.
And it's awesome. You just did a very recent podcast on Batman 66, and it's entirely strat, like a competition strat focus. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. So, like you said, I'm FriscoPinball, creatively named because I live in Frisco, Texas. We just had the Texas Pinball Festival here. It was great to see everybody, George, yourself included. I love when people get to come to Frisco, see the city, but more importantly, enjoy a lot of pinball. It's kind of lucky again that I moved from California to a random city in Texas, and all of a sudden they have one of the biggest pinball festivals in the country every year. So I started with virtual pinball during COVID. I first started with the arcade 1-up machines. I really enjoyed building those, playing those, and I was like, oh, look, virtual, pinball's there too. And then I remembered as a kid working in Chuck E. Cheese, playing Whirlwind, and thinking it was the greatest tech ever with that fan blowing on you. Then I was like, oh, look at all these digital pinball games. And then eventually I had my own V-Pin built, standard body, Goonies themed. I didn't realize there was streaming on pinball. We were all stuck at home, and I started doing that. And from virtual pinball, I made my way to IRL pinball. And I got my first pin, Avengers Infinity Quest, and that sort of opened the gate. Within a couple years, I had 5, and now I have 6. But from there, I really got into, I didn't realize there was competitive pinball. So I started playing in a couple local tournaments. And then I said, well, I like to do everything 0 to 60. So let's just go play an in-disc, which is the biggest competition in the world. And soundly got my butt kicked, but I had a ton of fun. And that led to me really wanting to get more into the strategy, the math, and all the little intricacies of competitive pinball. So my friend Joseph Landis, I met him at TPF one year in one of the tourneys. We created Wizards and Warriors. It's a competitive focused pinball podcast. It started out, an hour or so, then it went to 3 hour long podcast. But then we started doing master classes recently, which have been really fun to talk with high ranking competitive players and what their strategies are for certain pins. So we've done Rush, we've done Batman 66. We just did a Gottlieb Gauntlet with Colin McAlpine, who is your Texas State champ this year. And that should be back up on YouTube soon, but it's basically like 6 Gottlieb games. And it was for this year's Indisc, which had a high stakes Gottlieb bank. But I love talking about it. When I get the motivation to come up here and get everything set up, the thing with me is I worry that I'll burn myself out on a hobby like I've done in the past. So I try to take my time between going all in and continuously doing it. So when I go to a tournament like TPF Indisc, I kind of cleanse myself after and don't do anything pinball related. Oddly enough, I have barely played my pins up here in a long time. The main pinball action I get is at tourneys, which is not good advice because you got to practice before these tourneys. However, so that's kind of where we're at. I've got some episodes planned for Masterclass. Hopefully Jurassic Park is soon, which will be a lot of fun. Star Wars, Steve Ritchie, Simpsons Pinball Party, and Stars, Harlem Globetrotters. A lot of people have been interested in doing it, so I appreciate the competitive community for welcoming me and just being very open with how they approach competing on certain pins in these tournaments. And I love tournaments. I could compete for 14, 16 hours a day, but at some point I do. I'm 44, so it does wear on me a little bit.
Yeah, those 2-3 day tournaments where it's just pinball from 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning until well after midnight. That's rough.
Yeah, you do need comfortable shoes for sure. for all of those.
Yeah. And medicine, happy medicine.
Yes. That's always my problem with those tournaments that start at 10 in the morning. I don't want to self-medicate at 10 in the morning.
Yeah, no,
I want it to be like 2 in the afternoon at least.
The first tournament I went to, I was like, oh, this will be cool. Like, I'll get to come back, see my family, see my kids. It started at 10 a.m. and I got back at 11 p.m. I was like, what the hell was that? Do these people not have anything else to do? And then I started getting into it where I'm like, oh, I see why. Because you get addicted to the whoppers and and the ranking. And I've exceeded what I expected of myself. I think I told myself if I ever made top 1,000 or top 500, I would be super happy. And right now where I'm at, I couldn't ask for any more.
You're in the
really
200s,
tough.
right?
Yeah, I think I'm like 194.
Damn.
I should go up a little from TPF. I just missed the playoffs, but I should get a couple points, and I just got to fix my efficiency. It's in the trash, but hopefully I can get that up.
We got to get you down here for PBJ League for sure.
Next time I'm in Colorado. I absolutely love that place.
Yeah, I mean, we love having you, man.
Yeah.
Last time I saw you down here was for Dory Hill. That's our annual pin golf thing, but that was a couple years ago at this point.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I highly recommend if anybody has a chance to do the Dory Hill tournament, please do it. It's so much fun. The Colorado pinball community is absolutely amazing, so kind, but it's just such a unique tournament as well. And you don't really ever get a chance to play pinball outside.
Yeah, dude. Pin golf.
It's a breath of fresh air.
If you weren't aware, we a bunch of us Colorado dumbasses haul our machines up into the mountains for the weekend. I want to say there's like over 60 games up there. There's typically 144 players at this tournament, and it's all pin golf, and it's all at a campsite. So
rain or shine too.
Right, yeah, or snow.
Or snow. Yeah, we've had that.
Yeah. But no, it's a blast. And it's meant to be fun. And I think I think that succeeded on that every year. But
Oh, yeah.
no, we need Hadi back.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I could get there for sure. I've gone hardcore in the tournament scene as far as going places. I went out of the country for the first time in my life to go to the UK Open.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to see as many different places as I can, and I think I've hit most of them. I've just got Free Play Florida, the Delaware Pinball Collective, the Beast, the Rochester Pinball Collective, and that should be like the big ones. I mean, I did 24 hours at the Sanctum with food poisoning, so I think I'm I think I'm good. I think I'm good on like finding the rest of them and coming back to the ones I truly enjoyed,
All
like
right.
Dory Hill.
Oh man, sorry. I want to go into the next step, which is proving, at least giving justification for why Venom gets a bad rap. But did Pinburg tickets go on sale recently? Did I miss that?
They were Saturday, this past Saturday. I logged in at 11. It said sold out. So as soon as I logged in, 276 players, they expanded the field. There is a wait list. However, I kept trying because what happens is people will put it in their carts and then it'll empty it because it uses Eventbrite. So I eventually did get my ticket, but yeah, it was this past Saturday. So if you are interested, join the wait list. You never know. There's a lot of people and some may drop as the refund deadlines get closer and closer.
Sure. Awesome. I'm going to jump into really quick justification for why we're even talking about Venom today. And here we go. Really easy. I'm going to go to Pinside, and let's just take a look at a Venom Pro here, going up for sale at $4,400. Another one just sold from Wild Bout Pins for $4,050.
Oh God!
And another one in Wooddale looks like it just sold for $4,300. I'm guessing that is.
And remind us all, what's MSRP on this game?
Venom Pro $69.99.
Okay.
And you typically see now that we're post-COVID, you see pros go, a decent pro that's holding its value typically sells on the lower side for $5,500. On the higher side, for example, King Kong is probably going for right around $6,300 right now.
Okay.
Just to provide a little bit of context here. Now, that's the pro. And maybe you're thinking, the pro for Venom may for some reason be shit. But the LE, for certain, there's no way the LE has dropped significantly in value. Let's just take a look at a couple of these here. Here's a Venom LE going for $7,000.
MSRP once again?
$13,000.
$13,000.
$13,000 for this one. You can pick one up in New Jersey for $7,000. You've got another one here in Philadelphia for $8,500. Here's an $8,500 or best offer. And there's a couple of others that are holding out for a lot more. And maybe some of these have a stern topper. Here's a 1, 2, 3, 4 with a stern topper and mods. And this is my justification for adding it to the list. When you see the pro going for the pro in that 4,000 range, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking about Avengers, AIQ, sure. Mandalorian, and now Venom. When you see it go for that low, there's a reason. Now, I want to go next as to why why exactly it's dropped in value, because I think that's going to start to give us some reasons or justifications as to why it got a bad rap. And then we have Hadi on here to tell us why it's somehow a benefit instead of a negative and just the market's wrong. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Okay. So before we go too much further, just so that way everyone's aware, this is the coolest artwork ever on a pinball machine.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking awesome, man. Like I can't lie.
And this is the pro.
Yeah. Look, listen, I prefer the pro.
Sure. And we'll get to that. We'll get to why that's an incorrect assessment.
Hold on, my head's chopped off.
It is chopped. I feel like the camera keeps dropping. You just rotate it up a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay, that's maybe a little high. It's fine. We can show all the storage I have on the ceiling. There you go. Just stand up from now on. While Paul's getting that figured out, I said the Pro is some of the coolest artwork. I'm sorry, I was wrong. The LE has the coolest artwork and the coolest side armor. Look at that. It's matching. And on top of that, it's sparkly blue. They even gave it a cool name. You have this beautiful back glass. We are Venom on the side. This couldn't be more immersed into the theme. I want to ask Hadi, but actually, Paul, that's our job here today. What's wrong with Venom? Why is it selling for just shy of $4,000 on a pro on Pinside right now?
Well, I asked my girlfriend earlier tonight. I kind of gave her a brief synopsis of what we would be talking about tonight, and she said that there wasn't really any interesting shots on the game. That was her take, not mine. Keep in mind, she has only played a pro. I would be very surprised if she's ever played a premium or an LE version. But I mean, I'm a tournament player. I like scores. I'm in the same vein as Hadi here. I enjoy the competitive aspect of pinball much more than the progression or storytelling or even game saving stuff that this has to offer. And there's not really any interesting shots. There's no feel good shots. Maybe that's a better way to put it. There's no feel good shots of like, oh yeah, I did that, and it's like, yeah. Let's keep going type of thing. It's just very much a combo Tron.
Okay.
Of sorts.
Hadi, what do you think about Paul tackling layout and shots? What's interesting to shoot? Is there something interesting to shoot on this?
I mean, I think it has one of the most interesting ways to make new shots with the moving ramp in the middle of the premium and LE. The whole, choose your host, change the game, because on the premium and LE, you can change the shot path, not to mention the absolute adrenaline rush that is the fast lock system. So while the shots, let's say you're on the pro, are, the fanniest fan that's ever fanned, you have this crazy system that will keep you moving and hopefully progressing through what is a different approach in pinball storytelling and mode progression. I think that when this came out, you already had an IP that people are like, why would you spend money on Venom? Like, other than me, I understand why, but everybody else I get. And I understand that this is why it's dropped the fastest, it seems, in all the new modern Sterns as far as value, even worse than John Wick. It's not a pin that people can walk up to and say, oh, look, I hit this advances the story mode. They don't realize you have to hit a combo of shots to end up at a boss fight. It's just not... It doesn't really tell you off the bat, but I do think that on the premium and LE, the shot paths are very cool, along with the different type of mechs. We got a pseudo Very target. We've got the doppelganger with its own multi-ball on the right-hand side with the hanging stand-ups, like the one in Mando on the center ramp. And then you've got a couple. You got a gobble hole in the back that's a sneak in. I think there's some cool little shots you can make. Now, again, with the fan layout, it's really hard to say like, hey, there's a lot of cool things to shoot. It's just 5 different ball paths. That's why I think the moving ramp and that center area really does make it a lot more fun, as well as the other shots when they change based on your host or based on where you're going.
Okay.
Yeah, I get that.
I mean, I'll say that was. I'll go back to that was Andrea's opinion of like she played the pro. She didn't think there was anything like really. There was no wow factor to it. I like the pro. I prefer the pro.
I mean, for tournaments, the pro is generally preferred because of how fast it is. Because the right hand second shot from the right is a loop, and the pin itself.
Horseshoe shot, right?
Yeah. The pin itself becomes a lot harder. I've played this in card formats, and I'm like walking up like, okay, I know what to do. Let me go for what the hell's his name? Flash Thompson, anti-venom. Let me get the Add-a-Ball ready. I'm thinking, I'm going to get to a multi-ball, and it just like destroys me. I get like 3 million. I'm like, I own this. I should get 3 million just by entering my Insider Connected initials. So like
The curse of owning the pin and then trying to compete on it.
But it's so hard in a tournament because this is a pin where it rewards you for getting to that next level. There are pins with Elwyn, like I'm thinking of like Jurassic Park. You don't have to necessarily get to a very high paddock or dinosaur rescue. You can get some good points through some of the other modes. You can get to, I don't know, pterodactyl, whatever it is, or raptor multi-ball. You don't have to be in a mode. You can get something pretty quickly. But with this, you've got to either pray you get 2 balls locked by ball 1 and then, eventually get to a mini boss fight. Otherwise, you're looking at 2-ball naked multi-ball or 3 and hoping you can stack carnage with it and go from there. It ramps up pretty fast. It ramps up really fast score-wise later on as you gain your levels. And obviously, in tournaments, you don't use Insider Connected, so you're starting at level 1. And then if you're like level 99 at home, it's awesome because you can go straight to null and your shots count where you're more powerful. So
there's a huge difference between being able to log in and pick up where you left off and starting from square one. But from my experience, I mean, keep in mind we had a Venom Pro. And I want to say, I was telling George earlier tonight, I think we sold this a little over a year ago, and haven't had it since. And when I set it up at our customer's house, I played a practice game on it and like cracked 2 billion on it. And I was like, okay, I don't need to play anymore. This is good. But the tournament strat that I always remember is Toxin team up. You got to get the Toxin team up. I don't quite remember though how to get to Toxin team up. Do you remember how to get to Toxin team up, Hadi?
I have it right here.
Mayhem multi-ball, right? That's got to be.
Yeah, you have to get Mayhem multi-ball and Carnage multi-ball and Doppelganger. So the 3 mechs essentially. Okay. Fast locks. Your Doppelganger activates through the number of infected you hit or defeat, and those are the little stand-ups throughout the playfield next to like the right scoop, the Daily Bugle scoop. They'll be lit randomly throughout the playfield, and then obviously Mayhem multi-ball is locking it in the fast lock system after you hit a combo or 2, and then it'll activate the green arrows to let you know where you want to lock. And but that's the great thing about this pin is even the fast locks have perks to them or code to them. So it's not just locking the ball. If you look at each side, there's 3 balls on the left, 3 balls on the right, and they have little perks so you can strategize. Hey, I want playfield X. I want extra time. I want this boss activated, whatever it is. So when this pin came out, it had been either a recent string of or maybe some criticism about code being so light at launch. This code was pretty beefy. Like there was not a lot. There was stuff missing, Final Wizard modes, Clintar multi-ball, but this had a good amount of stuff to do. So I was super happy with Dwight and team kind of just really making this ready to go. And I think they knew they had to because it was such a whatever tier IP you want to call it, D tier, E tier. They had to really sell it on why this was going to be a winner on launch. And again, there was also 1,000 LEs for Venom, the property. We had how many for Pokemon? 750, and that's the largest IP in the world. Yep. So this is not a good. They were still riding the post-COVID train, and they probably sold them all to dealers, if I had to guess, and maybe not. But 1,000 is a lot of Venom to sell. Like that's just there's not that many Venom fans out there in pinball. I just don't think there are.
So that actually maybe jumps nicely into part two. I want to say successfully defended. I would argue on the on the layout, like, and not that was your issue, Paul. You said you like layout, but it was a really good description.
I'm being a little bit more honest this time than that I usually am. Usually I'm just let's trash it. We're gonna wreck it. But well, I mean, if I am gonna shit talk it, I can't ask this to Hadi because I know he's biased. George, do you think this would have sold better if it was themed after Squirrel Girl?
No.
Do you think it would have sold the same
As Squirrel Girl? Yeah. Probably. I would
Okay.
say comparable.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Well,
Spider-Man.
yeah. Spider-Man's going somewhere. Venom just had 3 somewhat successful movies.
Do you think the value would have held on the used market if this was a Spider-Man pin? I do. I feel like obviously it's a bigger character.
Yeah.
And if you just added Venom, that's true. That's true. That's true.
I just keep going back up. Okay, so Spider-Man, if it's just the name Spider-Man, but this is Spider-Man's anti-hero nemesis in so many different comics, it's in the same universe. It's and on top of that, Spider-Man's even in it, and you get the Hulk, and you get Captain America, and you get Ghost Rider, and you get Wolverine. It has all the characters. We say maybe it could have been more successful. Johnny Button maybe nailed it, saying, "Hey, was it just Marvel fatigue at the wrong time?"
What's crazy is this art is my favorite Zombie Yeti, and yes, I'm biased towards it, but I just feel his style was so perfect for this.
Was
art,
no,
this art package.
The game is it knows what it is, and that's mainly what I look for in an art package. Is this trying to be something else? Is there some artistic license here that's not landing? And this lands. It's thank you.
And I was worried because there's many different interpretations of Venom you could have art-wise. There's the old animated style, which is my favorite of the 90s cartoons. There's many different takes you can have on what Venom looks like, and I was so worried they were going to make him goofy or silly or just like this giant beefcake, and it's like perfect. It's the perfect proportion to what Spider-Man is. If you ever played the old Super Nintendo games, Maximum Carnage, you'll see like he's supposed to be a buff Spider-Man basically and have this just like aggression, and it comes out perfectly in the illustrations here, I think.
Yeah, I'll agree. That's I don't know. Normally I don't care about the art. I'm mostly like, well, but what's the gameplay like though? This is a very pretty game for what it's like art package, what the art package is about, is what I'm trying to say. So it's, I don't know, along to like right on the coattails of what you were saying, like the art package reminds me of the 90s cartoon.
Yeah.
It's not the 90s cartoon. I can tell it's its own thing, but it reminds me of the 90s cartoon. So along with that, there's this nostalgia factor that hits for me.
And look at Venom on the shoot again, next to the flippers, dead center. This is as badass as any picture could get, because Zombie Yeti was given free reign to just make him violent and covered in saliva and goo and with very sharp teeth. For those listening in and not watching, after this gets converted into a podcast, I can't even do it justice. Just go check out the playfield. This is amazing. And what I'm hearing is that it's not the art. So it's not the layout. It's not the art.
It's the layout.
The pro layout.
The pro layout.
It's very hard to defend the pro because it's one of Stern's most stripped down pro models. And it sucks because you don't know what the bomb was to keep something in, like the changing play field. And I look at it and I'm like, if there was one thing you could have kept in, it would have been that. I think that they kept in the carnage very target neck, but I would have scrapped that.
I would have scrapped that too.
And given the changing playfield, because at least then you get the same, hopefully, experience. And to just have the horseshoe is like just wild to me. It's not as barren as Led Zeppelin, but it's been a long time since a pro felt this stripped down to me.
Imagine what else they could have done if they had 3 less pop bumpers in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's crazy is the pops are basically an afterthought until they added the
million pops,
the mode for it. Yeah, the million pops mode.
Right, but there's no way to send the ball into the pops.
And
you can't even see the pops. It's all hidden.
In the million pops mode, which by the way is a fantastic way to put up over 1 billion points.
Sure, but there's no way to send it
the
there.
orbit.
You can both orbits. Yeah.
Right, but it usually passes around, or it'll fall into the scoop that's behind there, and it'll kick it out somewhere else. And
that's a skill issue thing. I don't know what I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Now I hear what you're saying. I had to get a whole new play field because mine was cracking. So kudos to Stern for sending me a populated LE play field.
Yeah.
But the new play field had this issue with the stop in the back. So there are differences for whatever reason on the ones that they've built, where sometimes it'll perfectly feed into there, or sometimes it'll miss it. So it does take some tweaking, but this pro is very hard to defend. I don't even know if I want to, but I just wish they had given it a little more budget. However, it's Venom. They probably looked at it and were like, look, this is an IP. We got to sell 1,000 LEs. We got to get the pros out, the premiums out. Let's just, whatever we need to do with the pro to save a few bucks, let's do it, because we need to move on to the next one. I feel like it was Jaws after this, or I don't remember what was after this. It might have been Jaws, because this was a fall release.
That's a great
and
question.
Then I think it went Jaws, John Wick. No, Foo Fighters was before this.
Hold on.
It was Jaws and then John Wick, I think, and then Metallica remastered, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. It's something around there.
So
no, Jaws, John Wick, and then X-Men. Yep.
Okay.
And then Metallica remastered, because X-Men got its feet cut out with that Metallica remastered launch.
Yep.
That's right.
Okay, so I love that you pointed out the fact that the pro kind of got shit on, specifically around layout. It just
it deserves it.
Yeah,
it deserves it. It's
the tagline of the game was "Change the host, change the game," and the tagline didn't apply to the most prolific version of the game at all. It was the sales tagline
at all.
You can change your perk. But
but you can't change physically the game the way the premium and the LE change.
And what's crazy
you
is
still change your shots for the mini modes.
Yes, what's crazy is
what? I'm sorry. Hold on. Wait. Paul, what do you say?
Depending on the host that you chose. At the beginning of the game,
you mean
that would start you would start go into okay, pick this host. We're starting the game. I just plunged the ball, and now I have some mini modes going. Where your mini modes shots are depends on.
That's not the
host.
same thing, though. No.
I know it's not the same thing, but you said nothing at all.
Nothing.
Well,
it doesn't physically change. Okay, got it. Thank you for sticking up for the game.
Listen.
I think Venom appreciates that, Paul.
I'm sure it does, but I listen. We know what role I'm playing here, and if you hit that left side of the horseshoe on the pro, the left side of the horseshoe, you're dead. That is the way that ball feeds out of the right side of the horseshoe, it will kill you. Pretty much every time, and maybe that's the biggest sin that this game has to offer in my mind, because I have pretty much exclusively have experience with the pro, is do not punish a player for making a shot.
That's what they're learning on Pokemon that they had to fix. But you know what else is funny about this release? It was such a new way to experience the play, because the flippers were either lower, or the way they were angled when everybody received them, your shots weren't going to where they normally would go or how the standard spike twos were angled. So when everybody got it in the owner's thread on Pinside, they're like, is it just me or did they change the angle of the flippers? And I think the reason they did that is because of the way the geometry of the upper playfield. Grant, there's again nothing on the lower playfield, but the way your shots had to go. Maybe they changed it because it was too easy to loop the center ramp on the standard flipper alignment, but it was a much different experience out of the box that I had played versus the rest of my Spike 2s.
They also just do that a lot on a lot of releases lately. So one of our, not me, I didn't choose to do this, but with Pokemon, with the new release of Pokemon, we raised the flippers up a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed an issue.
And now the center shot is like way easier to hit than it was before. Listen, we want to make, for Pokemon especially, we want to make this game like as approachable as possible to newer players. We're not here to talk about Pokemon though. But like, yeah, Pokemon is the most massive theme in all of the world ever. And there's not enough people into pinball. So if they're willing to put quarters into a game and they enjoy it, maybe they'll come and play a different game and come and play in a tournament or something like that. Like that's the idea of why we raised our flippers up on Pokemon. But maybe you should do it on Venom too. Who knows?
Did you end up doing that, Hadi, on yours?
No, I left everything stock. I like to.
Yeah.
The only thing I do is add cliffies, jack up the legs so it's a little steeper, and but yeah, with this one, going back to your choose your host, change the game. They did that, on the Pro with the code, obviously changing your host. But what's crazy is the intention and decision to lock you from being able to change hosts after you do it once. And it's Dwight has come out and said in the forums too, hey, this is on purpose. And I think I understand why, to sort of force you to try other features, doppelganger multi-ball if you're on the premium NLE. I don't know if I agree with it, but it was such a great approach to having RPG elements of leveling characters, which fed into D&D, which was supercharged on its release. And I'm so glad that they started with Venom being given this sort of experience level system. I do always think about if this had had a traditional story mode, how would it have been played? But there's so many characters in the Venom world. I do think that this was a very nice, approachable attempt at getting everybody in and making it make sense. Lasher, Scream, all of that. It's hard to fit all that universe into a pinball machine and have it be a cohesive unit.
Yep, sure. Well, let's dive into that. Let's talk about how unique the game, the rule set on this game is. And is that potentially why we're sitting at 4,000 for a Pro and 7,000 for an LE? Is to talk a little bit about what makes this so different. There isn't a standard story mode. In fact, all you have are mini modes and the goal of filling out this little grid over here with a series of hurry ups that are referred to as mini modes, and of course exacerbated with this. What is exacerbating the hurry ups to make it feel even more hurried, or the player harried, is the fast lock system, which is kicking balls out to you quickly. You have very little time to think. You have to have all your shots planned.
I want Stern to bring back the fast locks.
I think the fast locks are fantastic as well. But is the fact that this game kind of bucks tradition in terms of modes, or like, let's say Mando, there's getting to the upper playfield multi balls and 5 different modes, and it's very clearly laid out This just doesn't have that. This has a series of hurry ups, a leveling system, and you have to wait until you achieve a certain level. And in order to qualify certain higher level modes like Riot, Agony, Phage, or Lasher, or if you want to get to Null or whatever comes after.
And the common player isn't knowing how to get there, or even if they did, probably isn't getting there.
Sure. So was this too jarring in some way, or still to this day too jarring?
This is too experimental for. Here's the argument for and against. Against, it's too experimental for the casual player. You don't get up there and everybody tells you as a new pinball player, don't double flip and shoot for the flashing lights. There's a million flashing lights on this because you have different combos that you can make. So you have to put it in your head, hey, to get to progress, I have to hit a solid colored light, yellow, blue, white, but I have to hit them in succession. And there's nothing that really grabs you immediately and tells you that. I haven't checked the LCD in a while. I'm sure it's there. I'm sure there's something that guides you a little. However, the argument against is you have a very low tier IP. You have a very tough layout because of how fast it is. And then you have a system of progression that is not very intuitive. And if you're stepping up and you're playing this for the first, third, fifth time, you're like, I think I know what I'm supposed to do. I think I figured out like how I'm supposed to get to the boss. And then you add a leveling system on top of that.
Yeah.
Forget it. It's $4,000 pros all day. However, for it, I think that this is one of the few pins where they could test this system out and see if it would grab enough of the pinball demographic to add it, parts of it, or even big chunks of it to later pins like you saw in D&D,
right?
And John Wick, and even Jaws with the collection of teeth. Like, I think this was a good. I think
concept.
They had
it was a litmus test, right?
Yeah, I think it was a good timing because they still had the post-COVID pockets of the pinball buying community. But this was it. Like this was the last time that the pinball community was going to sell out, so to speak, the LEs based on the fact that it was just an LE and it was a Stern. Because after this, it was like night and day on everybody started pulling back because other companies started putting out great pins. So this is not some pin you could tell a new buyer, put it in your home. I wouldn't recommend it because it's so different. Now, as they get into it, the fact that there's so many different ways you can play it, especially without progression, you could do it with no save progress, without any save progress and try to get to not just null, but then the Clintar multi-ball, which is activating certain features that exist on this pin as the final wizard mode. Like, it's more of a challenge. There are time modes, impossible modes where your flippers just die after you hold them too long. And that's in one of the boss fights, spoiler alert, they do that portion of difficulty where they say, don't hold up and trap, otherwise your flippers will die. So there's just so much in this that is never going to be seen because it's hard, because it's not intuitive as far as telling the casual player, this is the story. It's actually grids. The grid is the story, which is crazy because you would never sort of think, oh, my 2x playfield is how I advance, or what plus 1x playfield,
Sure.
or 2x ramp.
Yeah,
that's not normal.
Even looking at the playfield art here, I mean, you have Riot, Agony, Phage, and Lasher, and I'm looking at as a pinball player even, and I would imagine as a new player, I would look at those as far as like, well, they clearly have lights, underneath them or around them to tell me that I did that, or it's flashing. I need to do that now. But none of that, based off of what you said, it's none of that. It's all the grid underneath it, which is just your extra time, your 2x scoring, and
it's wild to think that your perk stuff are the story. Yeah, it's wild to think that your perks are the story mode, and then when you finish one perk, one line, and move to the next one, you're thinking, okay, because the average player doesn't realize if you complete that square, that's what you get. Eventually, they get it after the first or second time.
Yeah.
Sure.
But then the thing, you got to finish another line, and then that's how you advance to fight the bosses.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because the boss fights are so fun. The animations are so good.
great.
There's a light attack, a heavy attack, a special attack, and everybody gets their own special animation. The art team and animation team that did the LCD they did such a phenomenal job, and it sucks that it's all locked away behind this first buffer of confusion. But once they get past that, man, this is a really, really dope pin.
So
Well, here's my other problem with that, though. You said as soon as you get into a battle, I was briefly discussing this with George earlier when we were riding over here. Once you get into a battle, I think I played the hell out of this game like when we first got it, and I unlocked all the unlockable characters right away, and then we got a big code update that beefed up the difficulty on everything by a lot. Back in the day, I remember like I unlocked all the characters, and then we got the code update, and I don't think I ever beat Null since then, because it became so much more difficult. So when you get into one of your initial battles, let's say we're just battling Riot here, how much time do you have? How many shots do you need to hit to defeat Riot? And how much time do you start off with?
Well, it depends what level you are, obviously. The higher level you are, the less shots you'll need.
Let's say we're doing it in competition mode. And so we're starting
competition
at
mode,
square one.
You're gonna need a good amount of shots. I don't know the exact number, but you're going to have to hit your first shot to potentially activate your special, which is at the Daily Bugle Scoop. But the thing with time is the time shot to add time is not a very risky shot. It's the stand up it's right there. It's the bell tower. So you can decide, okay, one of the first things I do when I get in a battle, depending on what level I'm at, is hit that shot, because I know I'm going to need that extra time. I don't get a lot of risky return feeds from it. So I'll hit that. It'll come back to me. I'll find, I think it's the orange shot is the power shot. Your purple is the special. So if any of those are lit, and depending on what perks I have, I'll go for the power shot. And if that's not open, I think sometimes the boss will have a shield up. It's a flashing blue, or that's the light shot. You'll hit that shot, and other shots will open up. So in competition mode, they're not expecting you to be able to beat the boss pretty quickly. Now, you could focus on filling out the grid portion, which increases your XP
extra time
leveling, get into a multi-ball, wail on that, and get to level 20 before you know it, and then your boss mode becomes a little easier. I don't think you're supposed to beat the bosses quickly in competition mode. It's a competition. You're supposed to. It's supposed to be tough.
I get all of that, but the point that I was really trying to get to here is that I don't think the bell tower is necessarily lit, and if it is, it's not lit.
It's not
lit very well. There's nothing really on the game telling you to hit the bell tower.
I mean, it's a flash.
Time.
It's a flashing arrow. It tells you hit the bell tower for more time on the LCD.
Oh, does it?
So
okay.
It's not.
All right.
Yeah, it's not, and it's lit at the start because you're going to need that extra time on such a low level.
I don't know.
You cannot.
That was. I just remember that being a common problem I would encounter with a lot of people. It was like, oh, I just started this mode. Yeah, I bricked out a bunch, and because I'm just starting and I'm not very good. And then I took all this time to get into the battle, and then it's like 3 or 4 seconds passed, and now it's over.
Well, it's longer than that, but I will say it's lit at the start, and you have to be perfect with your heavy shots. at a low level to even sniff beating the boss without hitting that bell tower shot. It takes a lot.
Oh, sure.
And for good reason. In
No,
a regular RPG, and that's Dwight's influence, because in a regular RPG, you're not beating bosses at a low level. And again, I think in competition mode, which is what these are normally set to, in tourneys, you're not supposed to. They want you to get to, I think in competition, get to a 6-ball multi-ball if you can, or figure out how you're going to get the 2-ball multi-ball and Carnage stack.
Listen,
I think that's everybody's experience. I don't know many players that go into a tournament saying, I'm going to beat Riot, Phage, Riot, Agony, Phage, or Lasher, because it's really hard to do it unless you're a high level.
No, don't get me
And
wrong.
that's why-
On paper, I'm completely with you. Like competition wise, this all makes perfect sense. Like you need to level up before you go into it. No, I'm 100% with you on all of that. The problem is that it doesn't feel good.
Well, it's competition mode. It's not supposed. It takes like 10 shots to activate the time machine and rush. Like it doesn't feel good. It sucks.
Yeah. At the same time, it's like I spent a lot of time and energy to try and get here. I was doing the things, and then,
but you're going the wrong path.
Timed out.
Yeah, you're doing the wrong thing in competition mode. That's not in competition mode in a tourney. You're not supposed to beat the boss. Like if you get that far and beat the boss, you are beating 95% of your other players, because the scoring for that will ramp up to where somebody that got into a 2-ball multi-ball will have 30 million, something like that. Right. And if you're beating a boss, especially at such a low level, you're hitting multiple shots that are 2 million, 3 million each. Okay, so it doesn't feel good at all. Exactly.
Totally.
Because you're not supposed to be there.
I'm just trying to describe where you're losing the interest of the player.
But you're talking about a tourney. If you're talking about home use, yes, it sucks at the beginning. That's why they have the leveling system for home players. So when you log in, as you play, it becomes easier. And hopefully, like I've been to
feel good the first time why are people putting more quarters in those is my issue.
What'd you say?
Well, I mean, like from an arcade standpoint, like that's strictly my standpoint. I understand you just said from a home use only standpoint, but like, what's the comeback factor, right?
Let me explain that. Try and explain that a little bit differently. So imagine I just dropped 3 quarters in, and I'm logged into Insider Connected. And Paul, what you're pointing out is the first time you enable, let's say, Riot at level 10, you may decide to activate and fight Riot. And if you're at level 10 facing a level 10 bad guy, that requirement, that's going to be a lot of shots, and it's going to be a very short amount of time that first time through. So the big question becomes on location. So maybe not tournament play, just standard location play. Somebody feels like they got somewhere and they were into and out of that mode so quickly. And is that going to turn that person off to Venom, and they're going to go find a different game to play as a result?
Because a lot of people we encounter are just like, oh, pinball's still a thing. They're like, let alone, oh, I need an account for this.
I mean, the fact that operators were cheering Venom as one of their highest earners because of the leveling system is all the evidence I need to say, hey, this is why they experimented with it and it worked. That is the appeal of Pokemon, that, you catch things, you add things to your account. That's the appeal of D&D. You level up. So the fact that the pro was so bad and operators were posting online, you wouldn't believe how high Venom is earning compared to my other pins. I was shocked. I did not expect this to be a pin people came back to. But because they wanted to beat these bosses and eventually beat them and not have it take as many shots, that was the appeal. Someone saying, shit, it takes 10 shots to beat Riot, but if I get to level 50, it only takes a couple shots. Now, when you get to Null, it becomes, even at level 99, like Null is still really hard to beat. Yeah, so it can get frustrating there. But these mini bosses, it only takes 3 or 4 shots once you're a proper level.
Sure.
So what is the appeal? The appeal is the leveling system that brings in somebody that wants to get to the next stage of the game.
So what I really like about that is you're bringing back those memories. Even Paul, when you and I were talking about it, if you remember,
no,
we had Hadi on 2 years ago.
Listen, man,
for
no, it's
for
been
Venom.
a minute since I've played the game, but I don't know. Part of me doesn't. I understand that this was a litmus test for of sorts for Stern to see, does this Stern Insider, progression saving stuff, does it work? What parts of this system work? What doesn't, type of thing. I understand that there was a prototype of sorts, not in reality. This isn't a prototype game. This is a fully fledged cornerstone game. But at the same time, that turns me off to the game is that we're doing a threshold thing of like, oh, well, yeah, you need an account in order to really play it. Well, guess what? I can go over to Attack from Mars and blow the shit out of that, and there's a toy in there that the UFO blows up.
Well,
yeah, but you're not earning achievements on that. Like the Stern Insider achievement program, as has been shown by Xbox Live and PlayStation trophies, like it works. Like the evidence is there to show why people would do this, and to add leveling up role playing elements was their test on this one to see if it would work. And again, with such a stripped down pro and a low level IP, I didn't expect it to work. And lo and behold, it made money hand over fist for operators. Surprisingly, I had no expectation that this would be a success on location. And for some reason it did, which sucks because if it had been a better pro, it would have probably made a little more. I don't think the secondary market would have changed much, again, just based on the license and the timing of the deluge of 1,000 LEs plus all the premium and pros that they sold. But I do think it could have been better received overall if the pro had been a higher bomb, if a higher bomb had been included on the pro.
so
Like I'm saying, man, if they just took out those 3 pop-uppers.
and the very target, which is so cool, but man, I would have loved.
It's not very effective.
No,
it's hard to, like, when you start Carnage, you're supposed to get if you don't hit Carnage and hit that very target captive ball within quick succession, the code just makes the Carnage toy reset. It's hard to make any sort of headway during that multi-ball.
That's why people choose Peter Parker, because it's easier Carnage shots.
Right. I want to add in another thought, and this one I don't think I came into this episode thinking of, but as y'all were talking about the leveling components, right? Which I love that progression we got to see from Dwight, which was it started with TMNT, where we got the first little bit of leveling. It they took it to 11 with Venom here, and then we took it to a 15. I don't even know what the numbering system goes to at this point on Dungeons and Dragons. But what's interesting is both the Pro and the Premium and the LE did not hold their value. And here's the thought. I love the online aspect or the online component of this, and I am absolutely remembering for that first 6 months how much this game was played. As you're pointing out, Hadi, it was doing very well on location, but I don't see them on location anymore. Now, could that be that with the online saving, with this progress, with goals of unlocking people, is it the fact that there was the goal of unlocking 3 characters, and if you have the topper, a 4th character, and once you do that, is it possible that based on how things are set up and how the game operates, that there really isn't a reason to play the game anymore?
Yeah, I think for the everyday pinball player, once you've unlocked everybody and beaten all, that's it. Like that's your
Right.
final boss. You're not looking at the screen when it shows you how far you are towards Clintar multi-ball. you're not looking at that and saying, oh, that's what I want to shoot for next, because it doesn't really tell you that that's the super wizard mode. Like
Right.
that's what you should go for. And there's a speed run aspect to this as well, which I'm glad they added, because it's such a good feature of the video game community to have it in pinball, especially with it being so kinetically satisfying to hit your shots in succession and get a certain time. Yeah, this is not one. I think people were trying to get rid of it before the value really tanked. Two,
Sure.
bigger licenses were out afterwards. After this, Jaws comes out and it's Elwyn, and you want to get that front and center, especially if you have limited space on location.
Right.
Like, I get why this wasn't kept around as much, but there were also a lot of these. Like, this is not, again, this was released at a time when distros were buying tons of inventory, and you see them sitting on that inventory still. There's still Venom LEs new in box for sale from distro. So
Yeah.
like this is one of those things where it was the worst time for this IP to be given such high volume. I wish this had been sort of a like a not a boutique release, but just sort of given less of a cornerstone release. However, it's a Marvel property, so maybe they thought continued Marvel success. But there's fatigue with that, like the chat said already. So
Right.
it's really hard to justify why there are 1,000 Venom NLEs. I would buy 1,000 if I could, but I can't. So I don't like losing half the value on my LE, but this is also a pin that my kids are going to have to sell when I'm 6 feet in the ground as well.
So, kind of trying to extrapolate with that then information about once you've because you have online progress saved, and that is a big part of this game, is unlocking these characters, and it did feel like we saw some die out. Would you expect that same thing from Dungeons and Dragons? Would you expect?
No, I think.
Go ahead.
No, Dungeons and Dragons is a much bigger property, and it has such a more devoted community than the Venom community. Like, there's not a lot of crossover between Venom fans and pinball fans. I just
Sure.
don't see it.
But D&D,
The
yes.
owner's thread is 5,000 posts plus, but a lot of it is the same guys, including myself, like, hey, this came out for Venom, or what's this mod, like, or what's the fix for this? It's not this large entity. And so the D&D community, I think, has bigger pockets, bigger reach, and they should. It's such a cool, the cool evolution of Dwight's code as it's progressed through Stern has really been awesome to see. He's one of my favorite coders, and I'm just really happy that he's been given the properties that he loves. And he loves Venom. Like he's actually a huge Venom fan. And so I'm glad he got access to it, because you hear people say, oh, certain designer, I don't know who, but certain designers don't want to work on properties they like because, you don't want to mess it up, or maybe you just want to, you don't want your bias to somehow hinder the potential of that license. I don't agree with that. I think when you love something, you're going to put even more passion into it.
For sure.
But I can see the argument for it. So the D&D community wholeheartedly will support that pin more than I think there would be. There's just not a large enough Venom community.
Okay.
You find them for me. I'd love to talk to them.
Okay, so to recap, we went through layout. We went through art. We've now talked about the rule set. I want to throw out another possibility. Maybe it's the accessories. These accessories are the coolest accessories ever for a pinball machine. I'm going to say it right now. So you've got the goo on the shooter, on the shooter rod. You've got, I would say probably it's got to be top 5 at least toppers that also enables a whole other character in the game. And I can see it behind you, Hadi. You have this topper. I've only seen this at shows and only when it first came out. I don't think I've ever seen
We
Venom
need
topper.
to play it next time we go to Chicago, George.
Yeah.
Because you will permanently unlock Ghost Rider
Yep.
Oh yeah, right.
on any copy, whether it has a topper or not.
Got it. Afterwards, but you have to be on one with a topper first in order
Yes.
to unlock it. Look at this armor. Just please look at it with me. It's so cool. Like,
Yeah.
this is great. And then what was this last one here? Oh, right. That inner artwork, which just is more Zombie Yeti artwork on top of Zombie Yeti artwork. Like, this is the most Zombie Yeti has ever Zombie Yeti'd. This is, it's amazing. I'm sorry. I asked the question and then I kind of also answered it. Hadi, do you think the accessories somehow brought this game down?
I mean, the price of the topper did. The shooter rod feels amazing. Like, as a plunger, some shooter rods are not really that intuitive as custom shooter rods.
Uh-huh.
But the Venom shooter rod feels so good to like just plunge off. The inner art blades on the LE are reflective mirror blades.
Yes.
So it makes it look even cooler if you don't want the custom art blades. However, if you're buying an LE, you're probably happy with the way it looks. But yeah, it's got like the symbiote tentacles, and it's actually a mirror of the playfield, and it looks just amazing. And so the topper just was. Stern toppers are priced how they're priced. I know when they originally designed the topper, they had ferrofluid there.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen the Kickstarter projects that pop up on your Instagram ads or whatever it is, they have these little like desktop gadgets with ferrofluid in. And so when you play music, the liquid goo, the black symbol, will expand and react to the vibrations and the noise. It's amazing. It's like having your own little symbiote on your desk. Granted, if you work from home, it's great because you can play your music and it'll outreact. You can't do it at work if you work on site. But they had to take it out because it was burning up or something. So what we get is this digital ferrofluid and the plastics of the characters and the Mandalorian shaped topper. It's $1,300. You're paying basically to unlock Ghost Rider and see the cool design. Is it a little overpriced? Probably, but it does look so awesome on the pin. Like, I just think the way it complements it and the extra art you get from it. And the Ghost Rider as a character and his perk is you get the flamethrower unlocked right away. Very cool.
Okay.
And
Makes
we already
sense.
talked about how this game has some of the biggest licensed characters. So to add Ghost Rider was a really nice touch for the owners that ended up buying the topper.
Okay, I'm going to follow that up then with Venom is as Venom does. I don't know how to say that. It is what it is, and it's at where it's at. Would you say for on the Pro at $4,400, $4,400 is it a steal? I'm sorry, $4,050. Let's go with that one. Is the Pro a steal at $4,050, or is it a burn it and just never use it?
I love pinball. There's very few pinball machines that I will say I don't want to play. 4,000 for any Stern Pro to me is almost a no-brainer.
Sure.
It's just there's so much you get with the Stern pin. So this isn't like Spooky Ultraman where
Listen,
you're
man,
like
I
you're
can't
worried
argue.
about
That's a really good price.
like you're worried about reliability and quality for a Stern Pro at 4Gs. Like, yeah, sign me up. Venom itself, you have to, again, if you're spending $4,000, you're gonna have to like some part of it. And with the Pro, I think if you can get past the stripped down layout and just enjoy a long, deep code set. Again, there are multiple ways to play this: speedrun modes, impossible modes. Obviously, co-op is kind of a standard now these days, but this has
One-handed,
more than
dude.
one.
We can do one.
Yeah, there's more than one way to play this, and for 4Gs, yeah, 100%, I would add it. I would really hesitate to recommend the Pro because you're missing so much. It's
Right.
one of the Sterns that is just so.
I don't think
It's
you're
such a
missing that much.
Yeah, you are. I'm just telling
Yeah.
you, man. The shots going different places is so much fun to strategize and see just where they go. Like it's
Yep.
cool to see it pop out. Like on King Kong, I love the random ball paths. That's what I get with this. Like a different ball path, like on Harry Potter. There's just something about the playfield itself changing when there's so much packed into a pin already, and to see that world under glass magic happen is just that's one of the reasons I love pinball. Just the ingenuity of these creative designers at these manufacturers.
So I want to skip the premium and just go straight to the LE because it's gorgeous. Hadi, what do you think? At 7K for a Venom LE, is this a stop what you're doing and buy it now for 7K? Are you getting $7,000 worth of entertainment out of this Venom LE?
I think you are. Just if you're a connoisseur of beautiful things, this again. It's hard to say you're playing the art because when you put a pin in your lineup, it's usually covered the sides. But man, it's so pretty. It's fun. For 7Gs, you'll get to play it for a long time and won't lose as much as you would if you paid 9 for John Wick LE or something like that. I don't know. At 7, it seems like I'm kind of kicking myself for buying it day one now, but I can't deny the reason that it's lost its value. It's not, as we've discussed, the typical pin approach, and on top of that, with the license itself. But for 7,000, yeah, I'd take it. I mean, you're not going to get a different answer from me, bias included, bias out of the way. Now, if it was like a little Orphan Annie pin LE for 7,000, I'd still say, yeah, go ahead.
7,000 for a Stern LE pin. You're saying
Yeah.
across the board, you'd probably say yes.
I look at a lot of them because the price of the used market has sort of returned to a sane sane space, and there's always a lot of ones I just want to get. X-Men I see for 8,500. I'm like, that's a really good LE price. And maybe I just need to get off the LE train and just start buying the premiums, because those are 6,500 or less now on a lot of them.
Yep.
Get on the pro train, dude.
Or on the Pro train.
Get on the
On
Pro
some of
Yeah,
these.
there's some good pros. There's some really good pros for sure.
I don't know. I feel like there's some great pros out there that I feel like a lot of people just immediately burn because it's not just because of a feature or two. It's not as good as the premium, and it's just immediately written off.
It's a lot of money for, I mean, it's just a lot of money for a toy. Like, that's what these are. I love it. You know, I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where I can have a pin or two, and I understand why it's such a big decision for a lot of people. And really, just buy it if you. It's almost like gambling. Don't lose what you can't afford. Don't go on a payment plan. These are not going anywhere. Just go play on location if you need to. That's kind of my approach these days. You don't need to own everything.
No, something that we haven't really done for this recording that we usually do a little bit more frequently is catch up with chat here.
Oh, yeah.
And just from glancing around with what I've seen from chat, everybody kind of knows what this is, and the feedback that we're getting from our audience on this isn't overwhelmingly negative. Everybody kind of knows what they're getting into. Wolfman is saying like the art is nice. That's all he's got.
Wolfman's pretty negative the majority of the time.
Yeah.
And he'll own that.
Yeah, no, totally. But no, it's
I'm not sure why he plays pinball.
Benjamin misses
Why are you playing
this
it if you hate it all?
I mean, listen, what I didn't tell you is that on the way, when George was picking me up tonight here to head over here, I was saying I can't think anything bad to say about the game.
I mean, there's negatives. As biased as I am, there's negatives about it. The theme is not for everybody. The Pro is very stripped down to where it feels like a bare layout. The progression on telling you what to do and the code itself locking you out of deciding to choose another host, like there's negatives for it. I get why it's not everybody's cup of tea, but the vitriol towards it, because this is a hobby full of grumpy old men,
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to me. And I honestly think if you just turn your frown upside down and smile while you play it, you'll have a little bit of better time.
Yeah, well said.
No, I think that might have been the part of me wants to think of that was maybe I'm hoping it was a backup plan for Stern as they were thinking about how to market this game, right? Of oh yeah, it's not a theme that people think of, and it's the unexpected surprise appeal to the game, right? Of oh, I wasn't expecting to, I saw I went to a pinball arcade tonight and I saw a lot of different games. I wasn't expecting to see a Venom game. That was weird, but I put some games on it and I had a lot of fun, type of thing. That's maybe
It's
that's
just also,
that's the appeal
it's a lot. You're asking a lot for people to pay $13K for an LE, any LE.
Sure.
And unless it's stacked and it's ready to go, like with code, it's why people will pay for an LE and be like, dude, there's nothing here. The Walking Dead remastered, I have the LE. The launch has been one of their worst launches ever. And it sucks because it's my favorite code on any pin. And it's Lyman's masterpiece to me. Other people argue Batman 66
You
or
should have
another
asked
pin.
me, dude. I would have sold you my
But
Pro.
but it's like, but for to ask someone to pay that much for Venom, and then for them to see it drop almost by 50% in value, it's a tough pill for people to swallow. So I understand the negative feelings towards it, but if you look at it objectively and say to yourself, okay, the reason I don't like it, it doesn't have the traditional progression system that I'm used to in pinball.
Yeah.
Okay, fair point. There's no arguing against that as a valid point. But overall, is it the worst pin made? No. So that's my argument.
Yeah, no, that's good.
What is the worst pin made, Hadi?
Oh shoot. Man, there was an
Thunderbirds?
old
Thunderbirds,
EM I played at Cincinnati. I freaking hated it. I don't know what it was. It was like, God, I wish I could remember what it was. I wanted nothing to do with it after I saw it. It was just the worst design and scoring system I'd seen. But with EMs, it's really hard to be creative because of the time that they were made. So
I didn't hear what Paul said, but I heard party foul from Mr. J. Crane.
Yeah, I'm reading that too. I don't know how I party fouled.
So when you asked what's the worst, you then said something kind of to the mic directly.
It's Thunderbirds.
Oh, Thunderbirds.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I haven't played that, but I've heard negative things about it.
It's I mean, if you want to decide to have fun playing that game, you will have fun. Outside of that, then you won't.
Okay, this was the third of the bad rap pins we've done. We did AIQ, we did The Mandalorian. It was hard to be the bad guy in Mandalorian. AIQ, I absolutely brought in my bad guy hat on AIQ. But what's interesting is I walked away and full Alex mentioned in the chat that they just picked up an Avengers Pro for $47.50. What I'm really upset with is Avengers Premium or Avengers LE. And if I had the opportunity to pick up a Pro and at their current prices,
Yep.
I would consider pulling that in.
I want a Pro. I want a Pro. We have a premium at the arcade. I want a Pro. Okay. So a lot of the feedback in chat, from what I've glanced at here, has been not overwhelmingly negative, which is usually how it goes because we get on the blame train type of thing.
Sure.
But Does that mean that Venom is a much better game than we all realize, and you should buy, or do you guys realize that George and I are talking to a lawyer?
That's what I was going to say.
He's really good at arguments.
Chat understands that I'm licensed in Colorado. I will come after everybody that I can. I'm licensed in 6 states. Also, CNK, I have number 300, which is the first full official appearance of Venom. I specifically asked for that number. I had to pay Zach for it, but it was worth it. I spent a lot on my Venom Ellie. I'm not blind to the fact that if I ever sell it, I'm going to lose a ton. I just don't think I'll ever sell it unless for whatever reason, financial difficulties, I have to. But
Stern made a game specifically for you and you alone.
Dwight was very nice to put me as a high score for one of the modes, maybe co-op or impossible mode. I forgot, but it was very cool. And Brian Eddy sent me a ton of Venom pinball holders, those little flat plastics that he's like, give these away. He's like, I hear you're a big Venom fan. And Dwight signed his board game that he created for me at TPF, and he said, to the #1 Venom fan. I was like, that's all I need.
Yeah,
that's so cool, dude.
Very cool.
No, it was a good, for me. It was, I always think about what I would have added to the layout. I think of the Kiss pin and how they had the Gene Simmons ball lock. Like, I always thought they would put
the tongue, man.
Yeah, I thought that should have been like their locking system. But honestly, I agree with both of you. I really wish they would bring fast lock to other pins. It's such a cool mech as far as not just delivering adrenaline based gameplay, but also there's perks on it, and like it allows you to say, okay, shit, I don't want to shoot the right lock because I don't need those perks yet. I need the left one for the extra XP or playfield. Yeah.
I'm on record several times saying that I personally find shooting D&D dull, and it's because the ball gets hung up too often for too long. And what D&D really needs in my brain is a fast lock system. It'd be awesome if they had a fast lock system on D&D, but unfortunately it doesn't. But it's the coolest. Like, that was the main thing to me. Even just watching the initial trailer when the game came out, is that we have this fast lock system.
Yep.
I think there was what was the other big feature of the game? Was it the ass crack of the doppelganger?
Yeah, the BBL doppelganger. When I streamed it, I put a cam on it.
Right there.
That is a good BBL.
Awesome. Hadi, thank you again so much for coming on to defend Venom. I really hope, in the same way that we shined a light on some of these games that got a bad rap, maybe what some of the positives of them are, and I hope as a result, maybe if this is a game you were avoiding because you weren't interested in it, maybe you give it another chance at some point, and don't just let the crazy sales prices of the pros, the premiums, and the LEs right now steer you away from a game that really does something unique.
Dude, $4,000 for was that the lower end of it?
4,050 was the sold from Wild Bout.
Buy any Spike 2 for less than 4,100.
Even Munsters?
Easily. Well, yeah, even Munsters.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I like to buy games I hate and have them at home. So I can learn to play them better. Like I when I bought my Walking Dead Pro, I was like, I hate Walking Dead. At the time, I was like, I don't like this game at all. It's an ass kicker. But if I have it at home, I don't have to put any quarters into it. I can play whenever I want. I can set it up however I want. I can learn. I can get better. All those things. So it's Munsters. Yeah, I would take Munsters at home in a heartbeat. How much is it going for these days? Is it
Which one?
Monsters?
Oh, that's a good question. Hold on. I can figure that out. Let's see here. Monsters Pro. What are they going for? You don't see these show up on the market all that
Yeah,
much.
they're. I don't think there were that many. In the end,
No such
It's
luck.
like the Guns N' Roses SE or whatever the base version was.
Monsters Premium holding its, I assume, holding its value pretty well. If we look up here, 9,200. Yeah,
Yeah.
so over 9,000 on a premium.
I mean, the more rare it is, that's also another thing
Yeah.
that'll bump
Sure.
up the value of it. Too much. That's too much.
Yeah.
Too much for my blood. But yeah, Hadi. Usually I just end up going down a rabbit hole of trashing on a game, and you made that kind of difficult to do tonight.
That's when was I admitted? 2008. That's 18 years of being a lawyer, but also super Venom fan, and it's very hard for me to objectively step back and say there's nothing wrong with this game because there is, or this
Right.
pin.
Sure.
So I get the bad rap, but I think if people understand, just get past that first level of progression as far as bosses and see what this pin has for you, especially the premium, because it's got an exclusive multi-ball with Doppelganger. And maybe you'll get into the Venom world a little. There's a great comic right now, Spider-Man, Venom, and Carnage, called Death Spiral. They've introduced a new villain called Torment. The design on Torment looks amazing. Life's too short to be angry all the time. There is so much good you can enjoy, and pinball is one of them.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I'll agree with that 100%. Did you encounter a symbiote recently? Is that why you're so huge now?
I think there's a symbiote named Tank, and he just joined up. And no, I needed to. Pre-COVID, I was in the best shape of my life, running like 5-minute miles or 5.5-minute miles, and COVID just wrecked me as far as being lazy. And I was paying for a gym membership, and I was like, I need to start going. And then, like I told George in the pre-show, I remembered my high school workout and said, let's just do it. And now I go on the treadmill, watch videos about comics and pinball, and then go lift, and then come home, and I don't feel as lazy. So it's nice. I mean, I got young kids. I have to be able to interact with them in a physical manner and play, so I was like, this has got to change. So if you are out there and you're ever deciding, you about the gym, just take it slow and you'll get there. I was doing nothing. I was barely lifting the bar, and now on the bench press, and now I'm much happier with my current weight stack. So
Very nice.
I think everybody's challenge is just finding a
just getting
schedule
there.
to
It's
keep,
hard.
Get into the gym.
Continue going to the gym. Maybe not just going to the gym, but continue going to the gym.
Yeah. Everybody, your health is something you can't take back. So work on yourselves if you can, and if you can't, just do the best you can, because you only get one shot at this. So
Or find a symbiote.
yeah, find a symbiote.
Or find a symbiote. Hadi, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, where could they get a hold of you, and where could they find you?
Sure. So every social is basically Frisco Pinball. There's a link tree on my Instagram and maybe Twitch, but twitch.tv/FriscoPinball, youtube.com/FriscoPinball, FriscoPinball@gmail.com. Check out the YouTube for the Wizards and Warriors podcast, is also on Spotify and all the streaming platforms. We will have more masterclasses, more episodes related to competitive pinball recaps, including strategy rundowns and all that fun stuff. It's just a matter of me coming from the gym and getting the motivation to walk upstairs and start recording or start streaming. But I appreciate everybody that's been welcoming to this community. Thank you, George. Thank you, Paul, for having me on this awesome podcast. I really enjoy the idea and theme of it, and I think it's so much good content that can be consumed in the pinball universe in this small little niche world of ours.
I love that. It's always a good reminder that there's like it's a very, very small percentage of a percentage that are really into pinball like we are. Paul, if someone wanted to get a hold of you, where would they go?
Pinball Jones in Fort Collins.
just show up there.
Show up.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Doing leagues on Wednesdays. Show up before 7. I'll throw you in a group.
Okay.
No, you can find me on, I guess, Instagram. I am on Twitch too. It's, I guess they're a little different. So, Instagram is pbj.pinballjones. On Twitch, when we are streaming the tournaments and/or leagues on any given night, it's pbj_pinball jones. No dots allowed in Twitch, unfortunately. But or just show up. We got a new player from Wyoming the other day.
Nice.
We got some guest visitors from Montana too. So yeah, people are coming from all over the place, man. It's a hip happening place. And Hadi, we're waiting for you to join the league on a league night too.
Colorado is one of the most beautiful places I've visited. If I could move there today, I would. So hopefully I get up there and get to play and get to see you guys. It was a lot of fun at Dory Hill.
Oh, dude, yeah. It's been too long. We need to play
Yeah.
again.
Yep.
If you want to reach out to me, you're already on the channel. It's Don't Panic Flip. Hit me up at george@don'tpanicflip.com or on Facebook, X, Instagram, all the different socials accounts are there. Now, we typically end this stream with a pun. I got it set to go, Paul.
Okay, great.
I'm ready. So, actually, this is to either one of you guys or both. I heard that Venom joined a diet club. Did you hear about this?
No, I didn't.
He's now Lean.
Oh, God.
That was the best AI could come up with.
Oh, that's so good. Oh. That was good. As a dad, that's a dad joke out of 10. I love it.
There was another one I couldn't figure out how to make it into some sort of a question answer pun, but you can symbiote yourself before you wreck yourself. It was was how you're supposed to end it, but we'll just leave it with that. Hadi, thank you again so much. Paul, thank you again so much. This was a lot of fun. We will see you all next time. We've got one more pin that we want to go over and do another bad rap on. That will be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
There's only one other bad pin.
Yeah, sure. That's just the last one that we have someone kind of set up to defend in the same way that Hadi defended tonight. So we'll get that on the schedule, hopefully in the next week or two. Thank you again, all.
Goodbye.